And here we are. We are back. Thanks for sticking with us. It has been a long night, and we are getting down to the last batches. I guess people are starting to thin out back there. I think the booze is drying up.
Hey, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out, scram.
Will Smith. Jeez. We're joined by another cavalcade of stars here. Directly to my right, Paul Barnett from EA. How you doing, sir?
Tired.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm fine.
Yeah, well, that's...
A little tired.
Jim, how you doing?
Pretty good.
From is Twin Beards, is the name of the company?
Twin Beard.
Frog Fractions fame. How about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with fractions.
Nothing to do with that. I was just explaining it to him.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Patrick Klepek of GiantBomb.com.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. Chicago Bureau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been deputized to go out to Chicago.
Yeah. Rami, I've never actually pronounced your last name.
I have 7 names. Which one do you want?
Lay it all out, man.
Rami Ibrahim Mahmoud Hanafi Ismail Mansour Ali Freire.
Of Vlambeer. All right, great. And Mike Micah from Other Ocean. How you doing?
Doing great.
Great. Thanks everybody for coming. So, GDC, we're back at it again. 1 year later. How's it been going? Paul, what have you been doing?
Hanging out in bars.
Yeah.
Meeting people coming out of talks.
Right.
And then meeting people arguing to try and get trays of food in restaurants that are very, very busy. I've done a lot of that. I've missed a lot of meetings, and I failed miserably at all my meetings today because I was an idiot. So other than that, it's been great. Not a lot of talks. Didn't go to a lot of talks. Spent a lot of time meeting a lot of people.
Yeah, that seems to be increasingly the way. Like it seems like there are plenty of interesting talks, but there's a whole lot of business going down as well. Jim, how's your GDC been?
Exhausting.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of a Kickstarter.
Yeah. Doing that at the same time, and also speaking this year, so triple whammy.
By running a Kickstarter during GDC, does that mean basically you're just like trying to steal people's wallets? Like,
I've been
really
doing a lot of reminding people to pledge. It's one of the
sounds almost religious in a weird way.
Half-Brick is based out of Australia, so one of the Half-Brick guys, I was talking to them, they were talking about how hard it is to pledge to Kickstarter from Australia, and he ended up just handing me a 20.
And you then spent that on something entirely unrelated to game development.
I haven't figured it out yet, but it's tax-free. It's
smart.
Do you have to return the 20 if you don't make the goal?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make it just for him.
Well, wait a minute. Was it 20 American or 20 Australian?
It was a $20 American dollars.
All right, because I don't think Australian money is real money.
Well, I'd have to go to Australia to find out, right?
Is that the plastic money as well?
That's the which what?
Is that the plastic money as well in Australia?
Does Australia have plastic money?
I don't know. I was in Canada, and I think somebody said that Australia had it as well.
I think they just trade like physical goods. It's like a barter system. There.
It sounds like pretty good system.
It's like goats for flip-flops and just like a whole thing. I'm not sure. How's the show been going for you? I saw you last night. You seem to be making it awake.
Monday we had a talk. Tuesday we launched a video game. Wednesday we panicked about launching a video game so much that I forgot to mention Wednesday in my schedule just now. And today I've been sort of recovering. Went to Lost Levels, a little thing in the park.
Yeah.
Saw some talks that weren't necessarily scheduled that were really fun. So I hope that tomorrow I actually have some time to be a human being with normal human functions like food and sleep.
That's always nice.
I would like that. It sounds exciting.
It sounds like an impossible dream. But maybe someday we'll get there.
This GDC has been the roughest one I've done yet, but it's been extremely fun.
What is it like to launch a game in the middle of how do you even pay attention to it?
So you kind of don't. What ended up happening is, it was a launch on Steam and PlayStation 3 and Vita, and Luftrausers has been in the making for years now, so we kind of knew what we were up for. Mm-hmm. So mostly what it was being really nervous that everybody that would normally tweet about our games was at GDC and didn't have their phones charged. And then every night when I get home from the parties or the events or wherever I've been, sort of hope that my eyes can stay open long enough to answer the biggest support and press questions. So I don't know, sleep sounds really nice.
Yeah. Well, I ended up playing a significant amount of the game, or what felt like it. I don't know. Maybe there's way more to unlock.
Depends. Have you unlocked the hard mode?
Yes.
Are you good at it?
No.
Well, you've got some way to go.
It's hard. I outlasted the air raid siren. So
Nice, so
I
you
got
got
that
the
achievement.
achievement.
So
It's my favorite achievement in the game, actually.
Yeah.
Because we just had a really long air horn sample, and that turned out to be just long enough to kill most people in the game.
Right.
So then we made it an achievement because it sounds reasonable.
And Micah, you introduced a game. I mean, you've been talking about it on Twitter a little bit, but this was the kind of the unveiling of the.
Yeah, a week ago, I had no idea I was going to be unveiling a game, and so I was hoping to kind of lay low this whole GDC. But as it turns out, the game started to get people a little bit excited, and I got invited to show it at like these different places all week. And somehow I volunteered to demo all week. I haven't done that in like 15 years.
What was the last game you demoed for a
Oh
significant
God, it was
chunk
like
of time?
maybe it was.
Little
Maybe
Nicky?
It wasn't 15 years, but it was before that, probably Tarzan for Game Boy Color.
Okay.
Wow.
It was nuts. So it's like I feel really old. I feel really tired. And for some reason, I've been drinking too much. Not today though.
Yeah.
Like I've had a few faux pas, socially awkward moments, and all this stuff going on. But
That seems like that is stock and trade for GDC. There's like
it
a lot
is,
of.
and for me too. So I have a lot of forgiving friends.
Well, the game is IDAR.
Yep. We have to do that. Hashtag
Yeah, you got
IDAR.
the hashtag at the front of it, which under normal circumstances, I would look at that and go like, that is sleazy. Some man in a suit
Absolutely.
came up with that. What a monster. Like you've really, like you've put together like the two insane things that like marketers do to games, but done it in this organic way where you have a hashtag in your game title and QR codes. And it was like, normally this would be like Douche City, but somehow you found a way to make it work.
It's genuinely Douche City, so it makes it more like, it makes it awesome. But it literally, like you said, we just started tweeting. We drew a picture of a red box on a screen, and we just asked Twitter, what the hell should we do with all this? And we just got inundated with people saying, do this, do that, do this. And I was actually doing this because I was kind of bored and we're finishing up some other projects. So I didn't realize it would turn into something. And next thing I know, it's like we're putting all this stuff in. I was putting money down. I'm like, this is gonna be the biggest piece of shit we've ever, like, I'll just get done with this after a week and show everybody this is why you don't crowd design. And no, it turned out to be really awesome.
Yeah, I remember seeing there was a tweet from you at some point like, oh man, like suddenly, like I just got to have a conversation, like suddenly this all got very real. And I'd already kind of, at that point I was like, oh, I bet Charlotte, okay, yeah, I kind of figured out what was going to happen.
Yeah,
from
you know,
that,
I
from
know
that
Charlotte,
point.
you know,
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
Guess what happened?
Connect the dots on that stuff. So that's
It's been awesome. It's been really cool. And watching people play it's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like I had never expected to share it anytime soon, and so to actually have it at a show, like at a kiosk at a show, and watch people come up and see it, that's like awesome. It's so rewarding.
So it seems like VR's been kind of the big hot topic. I mean, Sony announcing their stuff, obviously, and everyone has been Rift crazy for some time. What do you guys think, Paul? Do you have any? I mean, do you own a Rift? Did you get the dev kit?
No, we got quite a few of them at the studio. I don't know why a lot of the coders bought it.
Yeah.
I saw two examples. I saw the Sony one with they have like a handler next to it, so that you put the thing on as a handler nearby. And the one we saw, the guy had the controller, and he was trying to like swing a sword, and he just kept moving his hand back, and he kept hitting the guy in the crotch, and the Sony guy couldn't get any further away, and he had to like stand there, so bang, ow, bang, which is, I saw that was good. And then Oculus Rift, I saw it at Valve. I was up at Valve, and they'd taken it and sort of attacked it with screwdrivers, and then attached all these extra circuit boards to it, which they made in their circuit board room. They make their own circuit boards, and we put it on, and it did things that no Oculus Rift has ever done. Like I put it on, and it was very Valve-esque. And they were there going, you may never tell anyone about anything. And so I put it on, and then I took it off.
Yeah, Valve's crazy.
Hey,
what
crazy.
is going on? Like what?
What
do they people do? It's like they're running a secret money factory.
You open up a door.
Not secret.
Well, no, I guess yeah. They hold talks about how great their money factory is.
You open up a door, and it's a living room, someone's living room that they've built. And they go, oh, this is a living room simulator. And then we were going down a further corridor, and they had all these card codes everywhere, stuck everywhere. They said, that's for something. And they opened up another door, they went, here's another living room simulator. And we went further, and I said, this is where we do our board etchings. And they had a vending machine, and next to the vending machine, they had a 3D printer, and then another 3D printer. And they said, oh, this 3D printer was delivered, but there was another one on the truck. So we took that one as well. But they're here because they're too slow. So now they're just next to our vending machines.
I can't wait for Valve to start printing 3D printers with their
It's 3D printers run their
That's the
printers.
next step, yeah.
That's where they're going.
That's like the second iteration of the Steam box is also a 3D printer, and you just put your hats on your TF2 characters and then hit the button and it prints out, and you go like, well, now I have one of those.
I don't know, the Steam box
Hey, you
I
get
had, I think
physical
the
product.
printer had a problem because the Steam box a friend of mine had actually lit on fire spontaneously.
Yeah.
So I think the printer was off or something.
This is something I've been saying for a while, that if someone
boxes
invents a
catch
true
fire.
3D printer, they don't need a press release because the countryside will just be overrun with 3D printers immediately.
Actually, yeah. We are all going to die.
Let's hope.
But if you've never been, you wonder what it's like. They're like the dwarves in the Hobbit movie, with the machinery in the mountains, with the. They're there, apart from the fact they're all tall. And so, yeah, that's what they're doing. They do have wheels on all their desks. It's just no one ever moves.
They can move.
They can move.
They've got freedom.
They do.
just
You have the
choose to
freedom
stay.
to just
not
don't.
to.
And that I brought a little Valve back from Valve because they have them everywhere for like hanging your coats up and stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I brought one back and I gave it to Dave. He's off camera. He was very happy. So he didn't get to see Valve, but he got a Valve all of his own.
A Valve from Valve. That's
I do like Valve. I do like them. Only my Steam box was broken.
And not on fire.
It's fun. I mean, it's sort of. I kind of think that story exemplifies Valve in a way, though, because they're okay with putting stuff out that's broken. They'll just fix it before it gets to consumers.
yeah.
Usually.
You kind of trust that they'll eventually get there. They've got all the money and no real time pressure. So.
But isn't that crazy that we have a company like Central at the core of our industry that is where we just say, well, they'll eventually get there.
Yeah, it's
sort
like
of-
no one else gets
sort of
that
a
benefit of the
super
doubt.
unique-
Like
super
Microsoft
unique
gets raked over
position.
the coals. EA is a fucking nightmare.
They have no
You know, even
stockholders.
so-
like they like.
Yeah,
like,
they have
they're
no
not
shareholders.
part of it, right? Like they can just kind of like, whatever we want to do.
Whatever.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, and it's I feel like they get a pass on a lot of really scary stuff sometimes, but they've kind of built up some layer of trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like I say at times, like everyone hated Steam when it launched. It was terrible.
Oh yeah, they did.
You know, and it was like, what are you trying to control? Like, what are you really doing? And I feel the same way. Like, how do you guys feel about the Steam box? Like, as game developers, is that like
Well,
particularly interesting, or you just look at it and go like, well, PCs on TVs, like,
I mean, they're effectively PCs on Linux, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
It just runs the games.
right?
you.
But do you think that anyone is interested in that alternative
It's not
that
really my
plays a
problem.
subset? I guess not. Well,
It's-
yeah, I guess not.
Because it's effectively a PC, so
Right,
I
it's
don't
going to
think-
run my game, so
and
it's up to
especially
them to
with-
sell it.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole streaming services, they now streaming. Like they actually have something that has potential. I mean, my games are like 320 by 240, right? So they don't require a lot of streaming power. So for us, it's like, well, whatever, sure.
Right.
I don't see any objections to putting our stuff on Steambox, and I'll see whether it takes off or not. If it doesn't, well, I'll just eat some noodles this week. And if it does, then great.
It was interesting getting we got the press release, I guess, earlier this week that Gauntlet had been announced. They're making a new Gauntlet, and it was announced like it's PC exclusive and coming to Steam machines. And it was the first time that I think I had seen a release that specifically called that out and didn't have like consoles, or it'll eventually make it to consoles. I saw all the Sony people playing it today. They're looking at it, but it felt like that shift of like, wow, okay, someone's actually announcing a game and saying like, we're doing it for this.
I was going to all these like little parties where people are showing off all their games, and everything's like coming to Steam machines. It's like they've been putting these little stickers on their like little monitors
wow.
and stuff like that. And it's like, this is a thing now? I guess like it's actually happening. Like I didn't realize when Big Picture mode took over my living room. It just happened. I can't even think the date that I suddenly started switching to that.
Yeah.
And like I hadn't used Steam for a long time until like last year, and then now I go home and playing games on Big Picture mode. I'm like, when did this? If I think about it, I don't know when it happened. It just suddenly happened. It's just so stealth.
And it feels like, normally we turn a generation over and you have that moment where you're like, okay, well, we're going to totally ignore the PC because the consoles are here and they're better.
Yeah.
And this time it's just not the case.
I mean, this has been a really strange new generation for consoles, though.
Yeah.
It's been one of the weirdest. I mean, we had a console war, and then we didn't, and then we did again.
Yeah.
And in the meanwhile, Steam suddenly went and was like, well, you know what, we're going to join in, and Nintendo was like, well, we're going to sell 12 Wii U's. And then it's sort of been like this weird situation where everything that we sort of know has not happened this time around.
Yeah, like when does a console had a do-over? Like with Microsoft, like, oh, you know what, that stuff we got a do-over. It's going to be this thing now.
Right.
Like I've never seen that.
Yeah, yeah. It has been scary and strange and really crazy.
I mean, kind of interesting as well. I mean, it does mean that there have been such huge shifts in the industry that just, doing the thing that we did before is no longer a thing we can do.
And it seems like power, just the raw power, how many polygons can you push and all that stuff is not necessarily as key as maybe it once was. You still have your high-end games that are pushing that stuff, but the smaller teams,
Well, I mean,
the
I
smaller
want his game
platforms.
more than almost anything else right now when I'm looking for something.
It's hard to know whether that's. Well, first, it's actually hard to know whether it's just me. Like, I find myself caring much less and less about AAA games, and all the people I know feel the same way. But I know devs, I know people who've been playing games for 20 years, and that doesn't mean that's where the money is leaving AAA. It just
exactly.
means
Like
my
the
attention
AAA
is.
end of it seems, it's maybe a little more risk averse and all that sort of stuff, but
I mean,
it's
they have
definitely
to.
is what it is. Yeah.
We went from how many AAA devs 3 years ago to how many this year?
Yeah.
It's like down to like 26 like major studios at this point. That's scary.
Right.
It is.
But I still like to play everything. Like I was
So do I.
alternating between Titanfall and Luftrausers.
I mean, to be honest, all I want is for my consoles to be more powerful, to be able to render more ants in Earth Defense Force. That's all I really want.
They could probably just put more ants if they just took out like the last 3 frames of animation that they have.
I love that game so much. Oh my god,
It's a good game.
so good.
And then, how are we feeling about mobile in general? Paul, Mythic putting out Dungeon Keeper, Ultima before that. You've been out there doing iOS, doing Android.
Yeah,
How's that scene been going?
Well, we were making great big heavy iron MMOs, and we got out of that because what's that old? If you want to become a millionaire, start as a billionaire and make MMOs. You'll soon be a millionaire. And we got out of it. We got into mobile because we wanted to make games that didn't take 5 years. We wanted to make games with much smaller teams. We wanted to make games where we could test things really quickly and see whether it worked. We wanted to make games that were going to go all over the world. So there's loads of terrifying data is now becoming available. If you add up all the sales of all games, of every single platform, so PC, Steam boxes, consoles, everything, 63% were free-to-play games of the revenue generated. Absolutely amazing number. If you look at mobile games, 92% of all the revenue on mobile games is from free-to-play games. There's just no traction, or hardly any traction, for single payment games. There are a few that are miraculous and wonderful and brilliant and ace and fabulous, but the idea of you just being able to bring out a 99-cent game is really, really difficult. I said there are a few notable exceptions. They're all wonderful. But for the vast majority of people, they're not there. And the other thing is just the sheer scale of audience and what they want and where they want. You're actually...
It's really a different audience.
You're getting games in the hands of people who have never gamed, have no prior experience of sitting down controllers, TVs, who have different expectations. The form factor is different, the gameplay is different, the game time is different, the business model is different. And I was in a debate at EA about it, and I gave a talk where I said, as far as I can work out, mobile games are like 1950s television. I'm old enough to remember TV being important, and 1950s TV's tiny screen, flickered. It was full of advertising and sponsorship. It was actually ingrained in the shows.
Yeah.
It's about this time that I drink this type of beer, or you should use this type of soap.
Give it 6 months, the internet's going to be
We'll be
back
there.
all over again.
2 fixed cameras, black and white, no editing, no cuts. And everyone who worked on movies or in the theater thought that TV was the devil and would be the end of the world. And a lot of that early stuff is appalling. But what happened is TV grew up. It went in everyone's room. It became the art form of the end of the 20th century. And so I look at mobile gaming right now and I go, look, it's a little wobbly and the business model's a bit weird, but I really truly believe, give it another 5 years and it'll be the modern art form of the 21st century. So I'm really, really excited to be in it. I just got to survive it.
So you say that, you talk about people that have never gamed before.
Yeah.
Picking up games on these platforms and stuff like that. So, last 2 games, Dungeon Keeper, Ultima. You have these people that might not have the affinity to those brands, might not know what they are. No negative, no positive connotation to the names at all.
Yeah.
Do you find that naming your games after these old EA franchises has helped or hurt you?
Well, it didn't do anything on mobile. It did an awful lot on the internet. Like, more people downloaded Dungeon Keeper in the first 48 hours on mobile than had ever bought Dungeon Keeper 1 or 2, including the free giveaway on GOG, and that had ever bought it. And you know, a lot of people bought it, a lot of people playing it. EA has to make a decision, which I think everyone who has older IP has to make a decision. Are you or aren't you going to put it on a new platform? And if you go, no, I'm not going to put it on a new platform, I'm not allowed to reimagine it, then you're sort of lending yourself down a very strange road. It's fair to say that we didn't have a very good experience with this one, despite the fact that we thought we'd done quite a lot the right way. We'd put the original out on GOG. We'd told everyone it wasn't the same game. We'd put it in soft launch. We'd told the press a year before we went to launch with it, and we gave a lot of re-review code out. And when we look at Dungeon Keeper, the original one, you're using a mouse to basically simulate a hand interacting with a dungeon space. You then look at the phone and that, and you go, well, that's a pretty good matchup. And we never thought we were going to get the immense reaction that we got. Like, legitimately we didn't. And then, weirdly, once you got the reaction, everybody was like, well, obviously we were going to get that. Everyone was so clever after the fact. Of course we were going to get that reaction.
Everybody was always clever after the fact.
So you didn't beta test it?
No, yeah, it was in soft launch for 14 weeks. But what I experienced with that was, with reviewers, I've got my studio going out, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed. We made the game in 10 months. Which, if you've come off an MMO making one game in 5 years, making it in 10 months, pretty good. And there they were, going to websites they loved and cared about, reading articles by people that they admired, going to websites that were plastered with adverts for free-to-play games, and websites that said things like, uprate your account for $10. Reading stuff that was going, free-to-play, uprating, devilry. And they lined up, it's EA, we don't like them. We don't like.
I hear that we're the worst company in.
Well,
I've
got a whole. No. We're
They upgraded the poll.
We're only #1 in America. There's more to go for. We.
Eyes on the prize.
It's EA. It's mobile game that we don't like. We don't like mobile gaming. We don't like the phone factor. We don't like the gameplay experience. We don't like the business model. Oh, and it's Dungeon Keeper, you devil. And you added all that together. So they wrote some pretty rough stuff. And they would come to me and say things like, "This person wrote a review." And they even say in the review, I haven't played it or downloaded it. It's terrible. And I would go, no, that's okay, that's acceptable, that's just opinion. And then another one, well, this guy here says, I haven't played it or downloaded it, and this other guy hates it, so I hate it too. I go, no, that's okay. And then another one that would say, everyone involved in this game shouldn't work in the industry anymore. And I go, no, that's okay, because they hadn't crossed my line. And then the next one would come along and said, not only should you not work in the industry, you should get a terrible disease. Oh, it should be an incurable disease. Oh, no, you should be dead. And they would come to me, what about this? They're now suggesting we should die. I go, no, we haven't. Felt like a porn star who has a crazy line.
You weren't getting this kind of feedback
cross.
from testers.
No. We literally got it a mess. Then we got 4 reviews, 4 of them, that said, not only were we the devil, we'd done the terrible things, we'd invented all this stuff, but not only should we not work in the industry and die, but all our families should die too.
And to be honest,
and that was the moment where I went, you know what? There may be a line at this point. I may now have crossed the line.
my line would have been way before that.
Yeah, seriously.
I've been doing it for too long. I've got all hardened now.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's like, as soon as somebody wishes anything on somebody that has nothing to do with the game, that's like, done.
Yeah, so that was pretty rough. We've got to continue. If you get abstract for a moment, we have to have the ability to take our old games and put them on a new platform. If we're legitimately going to say we're not going to do that, then it brings into question things like you can never film a book. Or you can never paint a skyline again.
Yeah.
Or you can, if you've done it in oils, you certainly can't do it in acrylics. What sort of devilry is this? You can't remix your own music. It's nonsense to suggest that you can have a creative idea and you're not allowed to repurpose it somewhere.
Well, I don't think the problem was that. I don't think anybody's problem was that you were putting Dungeon Keeper on mobile. I think that's fundamentally a sound idea. We were talking about this before, but for the benefit of the viewers at home, tell us how you tuned the microtransactions.
Oh, our microtransactions are about half as aggressive as Clash of Clans.
Right.
Approximately.
So, Did you look at reviews of Clash of Clans? What did they say?
No, that's the whole point. The awareness of Dungeon Keeper was done by people who hadn't spent any time in that market looking at the games. Nobody bothered to go. They've taken
It's
the thing about naming a Dungeon Keeper is you attract
Absolutely.
the mainstream game media because that is a point of reference for them. Clash of Clans is like, that's just another one of those free-to-play games. I hear it's big, so was Farmville, But Dungeon Keeper, that's something people can know. People can go, I liked that game, and they're ruining it.
We became a news story, and then there was nothing we could do about it. And we need to get better. We need to learn how to do it better. But like I said, lots of people download it. Lots of people are playing it. To get all mobile-y, the DAU is very strong. The KPIs are very strong.
What's your DARPU?
Our DARPU is very strong. Like, it's a successful
Can we
mobile
just for a moment appreciate that the monetization branch in the industry has come up with an amazing number of abbreviations that just sound like we're trying to do some Cthulhu-esque language.
Right.
It's really weird, like DARPU, and also, it's like you sound like you're trying to raise a demon or something like that.
Our poo-poo is my favorite.
Our
poo-poo, of the great our poo-poo.
It's like the Necronomicon. You're like,
By the way, I just like not to get into the whole free-to-play like debate or anything, but did you see that one talk at the monetization track this week?
Yeah, the monetized teens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were mentioning it
Someone
earlier.
has to.
What was it? It was like
How to monetize teens safely
in a legal way.
and safe, in a legal and safe. I mean, I don't think there's any language that you can start with how to in a legal and safe way than any word and then teens. Like, I don't think there's any sentence that works out.
And I didn't see the talk, but like you can sort of see abstract like what they're going like. Look, like there's a huge audience and like they're spending money. Like, how do you do that in a way that's like not unethical, but like the way they worded that talk is like
terrible.
Literally
It was
the grossest way you could write
Super
that.
crazy.
I mean, the thing. I mean, Flambeer is a pretty known opponent of many of the implementations of free-to-play we have nowadays, and so far that somebody like 2 days ago put a picture of me in a Superman suit in their presentation to imply that I was against free-to-play. I mean, I have the same thing you have, that I look at it and I see a model that nobody has figured out yet, right?
We're still learning.
There is absolutely potential for free-to-play to be a thing that could be good.
Yeah.
I don't think we are there at all. I think at this point, premium games are the
And I think there'll be some players that will never want to engage with
and
that.
that's fine. I mean, there are still people that my grandmother would still prefer to watch black and white television if she had the option. She just doesn't.
Well, I
unless
think
we break the TV.
the other thing to say about whether or not microtransaction games are there is that they're actually incredibly profitable right now. So I think some would argue that's there. It's already here.
So the thing is, I think the big issues that we have right now are that to make a good free-to-play game, you need to be aggressive about your monetization strategy, and in such a way that it affects your game design.
Yes.
I think that is sort of the problem that most people, and that's a problem I personally have because I care a lot about good game design, and people look at Ridiculous Fishing and they wonder why it's not free-to-play, right? And I can make Ridiculous Fishing free-to-play.
Right.
The way I would do that is really simple. I get every value in the store, every value that we've super carefully tweaked to give you the best progression possible, and then make everything 3 times as expensive to make the grind 3 times as long.
Give you a coin doubler.
So instead of making the optimal game and then releasing that, what you end up having to do is create the optimal game and then subtract from that to create monetization moments where people can pay for the game, and then allow them to pay to get the game back up to what it could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, that feels like the whole idea of mobile free-to-play being split up into pay to play, where you pay to play a game, which is pretty similar to the arcades, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right.
Pay to win, which is by far the worst possible form of free-to-play, or pay to not play, which is just baffling to me. The idea that you make a game
stuff.
and then you
Just jump the
get the
progression
skip thing. I'm like, we make video games for people to play. Like not to play.
And Other Ocean put out is it NBA Rush?
NBA Rush.
And that's free-to-play basketball endless runner against aliens, of course.
Why not? Well, I suck at sports games, so like the only thing I can figure out how to do is like you gotta fight aliens or something like that. But it's the same kind of issue. Is like when we're planning this game, like I have a hard time marrying design with monetization, and you can't separate them right now. Like you have to think, like when you're trying to come up with these things, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's like if I'm making this fun, I got to make it fun for you to spend money somehow. But then I feel like a heel trying to do that in my old school way or whatever. But like the best we can do is like I always just stick to like we got to be able to make sure that the grinding game is fun and not horrible. And for those who want to do, like, it's almost like you're donating to us to get this other bits to make it faster because you don't want, it's like you're getting the strategy guide and you want to skip ahead and that stuff. Yeah. Like, we kind of do that. We're not great at it. Like, we suck at monetization at other
we haven't finished. It's the 1950s television. People just need to have a little more patience, and we're going to get there.
I would be okay with patience if it wasn't so that there are a lot of people right now that, as you say, have no experience with games and do not know what kind of impact that can have on you. Like we would all agree that games can do beautiful things, right? They can make you feel good, they can make you feel proud, they can make you feel responsible, which is unique to our medium. Like no book or movie or anything can ever make you feel responsible or proud for your actions or anything. Like games can do all these things and we accept that. But we also have to accept that games are capable of exploiting people into spending money that they would otherwise not spend.
Yeah.
And sometimes in really devious ways. And I think I'm okay with having patience, but that has to go. That has to go first before I can be like, okay, you know what? We're now at the point where people are educated about the idea that they can spend money. Because the amount of times I've talked to people about the issue where they just go like, oh yeah, my kid has been spending like a lot of money on there. I'm like, you know you can turn it off, right? And they're like, no. And the idea that you can pay for stuff with a password instead of your credit card number.
Right.
Like we've all accepted at this point that if you enter your credit card number into a digital like text box, that money is going to disappear from your account.
Yeah.
We've not really established a language where people fully understand that when you tap a button twice on the iPad, that means that $7 has been removed from your account. So
we're monetizing teens.
We're still trying to figure out a language where, like, we need to fix the ethical problems first before I'm willing to even look at the idea that, you know, there's something in the future. Like, let's first fix the damaging, like, hurtful parts of this, and then go and look like, how can we make this better?
Yeah.
If that's a possibility. Like, I'm just going to make games that I charge for and people can play them. Like, I like that.
Bizarrely, the European Union will probably be the...
Yeah, they'll step in.
The European Union probably, like, if it's the first thing, the European Union are just passing a law that I think by 2017, every phone that you sell in Europe has to use the same phone charger. Because they're just sick of it. They've gone, no. If you want to sell a phone, it's this phone charger or nothing.
Is it USB?
It's micro USB.
But what the European Union is really good at, I mean, it's bad at a lot of stuff, but that stuff it does really well. And they're the people who've been chasing down things like in-game apps, whether you can call it free-to-play. The European Union is currently going, I don't think we're going to let you call a game free to play
unless it is actually free.
And they're going to pass laws about it. So bizarrely, the bureaucratic Europeans might end up. I come from England. I'm all right with that. They might end up reining that in. The other thing that I think is really hopeful is, as we get more people with more gaming material, we're going to start seeing people having breakout hits that are nowhere near as aggressive. And we do have one or two right now, but as soon as we start getting smaller teams able to bring out a game that can be financially rewarding in a way that isn't ultra aggressive, then we're going to start seeing the bigger companies paying attention. Right now, the shareholder-driven companies are almost, they have to go down it. And with the valuations that are going on right now, the valuations are insane. Companies are making one game that works and being valued billions of dollars and trading for hundreds of millions for percentage points.
That was funny.
It's just crazy.
I think like it was like the AV Club had the headline about the King like evaluation was like King.com gets evaluated for $7.8 billion before it goes bankrupt. Which is like, I just feel like the general feeling of that stuff when you look at it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I could really talk about this all night.
Hang on, before we move on,
let's.
Did you guys see Chris Hecker's talk? His rant?
No, I missed it.
Did he rant? I thought he was gonna anti-rant this time around.
Yeah, he stopped his rant in the middle.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I heard about this.
he required 99 cents to continue. And he actually stopped the talk and waited for someone to run up there with a dollar bill and then gave him change.
Nice.
So, just wanted to get that out there.
That's great.
Well, Jim, Rami, Mike,
Yep.
Paul, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
Like I said, I could talk about this stuff all night, but we got to get one more crew through here and then send everybody home. So
right,
thanks for stopping by. We'll be back with the final segment after this.